Good evening, everyone. Happy Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. This is Lee
and Patty,
your hosts of All Things Creepy with Ghostly Travels. Thank you guys so much for coming in tonight. We hope you guys are having a fabulous week. Let me do something here real quick. Sorry. I can't believe when I said September 9th, it's already September 9th.
I know.
Right?
The time is just flying.
Right.
We're always telling people, stop wishing your life away. And we're not wishing it away, but it is going. My gosh.
Right. I'm just typing into the chat. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Please like and subscribe if you're following us on YouTube. We would do the same thing back for you. Let's support each other. Thank you, guys. Hello, CP. How are you? New to the channel. Thank you so much. That was me. Sorry, I don't want that. Welcome. I think that's Cindy Plummer. I think I've seen her on our Paravision's Facebook page. Welcome. Tonight's guest, guys, we have Mike with MT Paranormal. We had the privilege of working with him with our group Entity Explorers a few weeks back at Middle Bass Island in Lake Erie, and it was a fun time. And we look forward to talking to him and hearing about his adventures and journeys through the paranormal. So we're going to get into some news before we bring him on. He's backstage. And let's recap from last week. Did you guys watch the new Ghost Adventures House Calls with our good friends Heather and McKenna and Carlo at the Bill Manor? I know Carlo was a little disappointed, and I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, because I saw one on my post, that, they have paranormal investigators on there. Well, I'm going to clear the air. Carlo said that they reached out to him because they were intrigued about his location. So that is why they did it. And of course, he went with it, because why not? It's free advertisement for the Bill. And that is a business. That is his business. People go there. That is probably one of the cheapest places you can investigate for under $200 a night. You can't beat that, guys. And if you've not been to the Haunted Bill Manor in Fremont, Ohio, you should be reaching out to Carlo, going to the Haunted Bill Manor Facebook page and getting a date, because trust me, you will not be disappointed. When you step foot into that location, you will feel the energy. You go into that basement, you better look behind you. You go upstairs in the second floor, you better check your drawers. Right.
That is true.
Caught her off guard.
Well, I was looking at my calendar, so yes.
And it's nice to meet you, CP. Thank you so much for coming on, guys. If you're listening to us from YouTube, if you guys do not mind liking and subscribing, we will do the same thing back. We're trying to build that page because we have also Entity Explorers on YouTube and our personal page. And so let's talk a little bit about Entity Explorers. Well, Entity Explorers was created back in April of this year between two groups, Orbs Paranormal out of Fremont, Ohio, Paravision's Paranormal Society out of Cincinnati, Ohio. So we're covering the North and the South, right? And a few of us from each team created Entity Explorers. And what we do, a little bit of twist about Entity Explorers, is we bring other people from groups or people that does this on their own, individuals, to explore with us at a location. And we film it. It goes on YouTube. It'll be going to Amazon Prime. It'll be going to Roku. We just got a Entity Explorers merchandise shop open today. So go to our Facebook page, Entity Explorers, and you will see our merch. So you guys can grab you a hoodie or a t-shirt, and there'll be more coming, hats, beanies. Hello, Duchesne. There'll be more of that coming to you. And real quick, liked and subscribed. I never knew how many people actually investigated the Bill Manor, right? And MT Paranormal Life. Bill Manor was amazing. Yes, it is. It's an awesome place, guys. So yeah, so if you don't mind going to our YouTube Entity Explorers and liking and subscribing, go to our Facebook page Entity Explorers, like, subscribe, follow, go to our Cincy shop, check out the merch. Jake just put that up today, so he's got an easy job. If he's listening, he's got a lame job. He just sits at a desk all day. I love him. He knows it. I'm messing with him, but he's got a lot of he's working on it, and that's what it's about. And I love his ambition and his go for. He is just like a go getter, right? I love it. And when we connect Paravisions and Orbs to form Entity Explorers, it's like we have investigated with them, I would say, for a very long time. And we connect and we fit. We just like our personal team. We know what the next person is thinking or saying. And it's fun. We have so much fun when we bring on two special guests from other walks of paranormal to join with us. That's great para unity. That's what we show. That's what we're aiming to do. We do a lot of twists in it. So if you've been with us, you know what we're talking about. So watch September 19th, right?
Yes, sir.
Season 1 airs on YouTube. Entity Explorers. Check us out. Real quick, before I bring Mike on, 2 more things I'd like to share. Patty and I will be helping out Southern Ohio Paranormal Society at the Broadwell Funeral Home in Felicity, Ohio, September the 19th. So they asked us to come in and help since we've done a 101 in paranormal investigation. We do it a lot. I've done it for many years, since early 2000s. We're going to show them the ropes on that night. So they're going to share the history while we're there, and we're going to take reins and do the paranormal. So that's what we're going to do. And then the following night, we're going to be at the museum at the Friends Home, one of my favorites that I've been doing since 2005. And that's in Waynesville, Ohio at the Friends Home Museum. We do a 101 ghost hunt, and come out. Starts at 7. If you guys want to investigate with us, check it out. We have a good time. Kyle's here. Hey, Kyle. Kyle says, we really missed you guys last weekend. The energy was not the same. It was still awesome, but there was definitely something missing. Oh, man, we missed you guys. And, yeah, just like when I called you guys on your way to the Train Museum in Cleveland, hearing you all say you missed us.
Yeah, that means a lot.
Touched our heart. When I came home, I told Patty.
Yeah, he's like, oh, man, they were all together having lunch.
And
like,
yeah,
oh.
So it means the world. So yeah, you guys are you guys not just team, but your family.
Yeah. And what's going on? That's right. He sure is.
Right.
And breaking news, waiting for more details, but we will once again be helping out at the Stiver School.
Yes.
For creative arts up in Dayton.
Yes. So come out to that. They'll be making a banner for us to share on our social medias. Yeah. When that happens, guys, that's a Saturday. It starts at 2. It's for the school. It's the students. We will be investigating and sharing paranormal stuff through the day. We'll split up, and I hope I can get my same team that I had last year there. That was me, Patty, my team, Jim and John, and then we had 2 guests, Bob and Denise, good friends of ours out of Indiana. We haven't reached out to them to let them know, but we will be reaching out probably tonight or tomorrow to get that. That's going to be November the 1st.
Yep, it's a Day of the Dead celebration.
Yeah, Day of the Dead celebration. We look forward to that. Yep. Guys, look up Stiver School in Dayton, Ohio, and check how cool that building is. It's amazing. And Kyle goes, we definitely miss you guys. It was vocalized on the way home. Mm-hmm. Oh, man, we miss you guys too. But we will be back because, like I said, guys, Kyle, when I was talking to you, even though we don't have an investigation for October, let's get together and just get dinner, do something, because, we can't go another month, right? And because we'll be back together in November, right? So let's do it. All right, guys. Let's not wait any longer. He's been sitting in the backstage, and it's time to bring on Mike. And guys, please welcome Mike to All Things Creepy with Ghostly Travels. How are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We are fantastic. Happy Tuesday to you.
You too.
Yeah,
Entity Explorers. Entity Explorers, man. Excited for you guys. Can't wait.
Thank you so much. Ahead. Yeah, we just got our shop out there, our Cincy shop today for our merch. We're going to be putting a lot of stuff on there. Some cool logos on the hats, the beanies, the hoodies, the t-shirts. Whatever we can put our name on is what we're going to do.
Right.
So we're going to make sure that happens. Guys, and those, if you haven't been over to the link on Facebook, hello, Christina. If you guys have not, go check it out. I mean, our beanies are our hoodies. We got the black one with Entity Explorers on the front with our creepy window on the back with the little ghost guy. That is only like, for me, for 2X to go through, it's only $28. It's pretty good. I mean, normal people charge more than that for a hoodie, right?
Cheap for a hoodie.
Right. So we're gonna be giving that stuff away, and because we want you guys to have it, and we look forward to September 19th. Let's see here, new guy, DJ Rock. Hello, everyone. DJ Rock is here from Hudson, New York. Mike invited me to this podcast viewing, and I'm excited to check it out. If I subscribe to your channel, I will follow and do the same back to you, my friend. Thanks again for being here.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
And we have Tammy. That's my cousin. Hey, you. Welcome, guys. We got a lot of people coming in, popping in. I like it.
Yeah,
so
Mike's popular.
So we got people from YouTube, Mike's followers. We got people from Facebook, and we're also on Spotify right now. So it's going to be a fun night. So we, like I said earlier, when Mike was backstage, we had the privilege of working with Mike on Entity Explorers at Middle Bass, one of the oldest standing home on the island. Yeah. And Mike, what do you think about that place?
Well, when it got dark and you really connected and zoned in there, things started happening. Like, as soon as I did the solo, things started happening. I could feel it. I noticed it right away, which, I'll be excited to see, how that came out. And I know when we started, it was there was that connection thing during the day, doing a lot of different things. There's a lot of people in and out.
Right.
It just seemed kind of still, but I kind of knew once it got dark and, the senses got tuned up, the energy would kind of hone in, and it did. It turned into some craziness for a little while there. Yeah,
it was a little different when the lights went out, right? And when the sun went away, being on the water, being charged by the surrounding water, plus all the paranormal people that was there, that, we all do paranormal and we hear things that some people are like, you hear what? I'm like, yeah, you guys, like I was explaining to those people there, that was during the day, as we investigate at night, we hear, our senses are open more because we've done this for so many years, that we hear things and we all say, when we're together, and they look at us like, how'd you guys know what to say at the same time? Because that's what we hear. And those walls were waiting. Those shadows, those people that are there in that building, in that home, or on the land, they were waiting for us to start pulling out our equipment and really focusing on them. After we did all of our filming and interviews and shots and drone things, they were waiting for us to come in there and talk to them. And I think they really did when it happened, when we started the solos. I think it was on.
That's one of the things I've noticed, because it's been maybe a few years that I've been doing this on my own. And one of the things that's become apparent to me, without a doubt, is when you open yourself up and you're trying to connect and you're trying to have the experiences, that's a big key. That's one of the most important things to have these. I say make because I believe, most of these occurrences are manifested. It's like a 50-50 kind of thing. And, when you elevate yourself there, that's when you'll notice, the things, these paranormal occurrences will happen.
Right. And Kyle just says, we were the talk of the island. And I think we're right because, Rob, the guy that owns the house, I mean, he's like the mayor of the island. Did you think the same? I mean, everybody loved old Rob. I mean, how many women, how many single women, and these other guys. I mean, that was the place. So
we should have given him an audio recorder and let him turn it on and do his own session there. I wonder what kind of stuff we'd hear.
Right. Right. I mean, because when we even went to the restaurant to have dinner, here comes old Rob. And as we were leaving, I'm like, oh, look, old Rob's car is BMW sitting at the back door. I mean, he's got VIP. I mean, and he's just a cool cat. Very nice. Look who's in here. Finally, Jake.
Hey,
What's up, Jake? We're talking about Middle Bass Island, our little excursion there, a little bit of how, the island and how it woke up at night and how Rob was just a great host. That place was awesome. And Mike was just mentioning, Jake, excuse me, that, how he explained how the energy changed when the sun went down.
Yeah.
And if you're in the chat, guys, if you have any questions for Mike, feel free to type them in the chat, and I will definitely bring them up on the screen.
Yeah, same, Jake.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, we had a blast. That was fun, and it was very nice and soothing out there by the water. And
more than one of us needed to go outside to the middle of the yard and ground and kind of,
I wanted to talk about that. Didn't Kyle did. He's putting you on the spot.
All right, why are you asking that, Jake? You jealous?
Because clearly it's me.
Yeah, it's clear. It's clearly Patty. That's what his answer is.
Yeah.
Shut up, both of you.
Jeez.
I think he heard me about his job. He knows I love him. He's funny. And what made you all want to start investigating? Hey, that's a good question. So let's start with Mike, because Mike told me when we were taking a break. Mike told me, but I want Mike to share with everybody if he's okay with it.
Yeah. Well, what made me want to start investigating, I would say, would be that first experience of mine, the first real personal experience where any doubt about there being some kind of connection or communication from beyond. When that happened, that's what really made me want to dig deeper. But that was back to like 2015 for me, and I wasn't really able to act on it then because my home was getting kind of active, and at that time I was married, and my ex-wife and my kids were experiencing things, and it was getting kind of like everybody was somewhat scared, and we kind of just backed down. Everything stopped trying to find out what's happening. So I kind of tuned it out, and it stayed tuned out after that. And then I kind of reopened that up a few years back when I started doing this on my own. But yeah, it was the very first experience. And, it really took, doing this for a few years now, I really didn't know how amazing that first encounter I had was and how rare it was. And it's become really, more defined how amazing it was. And that I was at my old home, and I was using a cell phone to do an audio recording. And I had an EMF meter laying on the table next to it. I was trying to see if something would happen for me because other people in the home were having experiences. I wasn't having them.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering, I'm like, can this be debunked? I mean, it seems like stuff's happening a lot, but it's not happening around me.
Right.
So I was still skeptical, and I've always been about things like that. I always thought like the old ghost hunting shows and stuff were just basically WWF or WWE version of paranormal. I was like, okay, right. I could see, all the craziness and hype, but right. So at that point I was almost 40 and I'd never had any experiences before. So I kind of thought, this is very rare, or just it's people getting freaked out over nothing, and it can be all explained.
Right.
So I was trying to recreate some of the things that were happening, and I had an audio recorder and an EMF meter, had my breaker off at home. They were sitting there together, and I was just asking questions, talking to somebody I'd imagine was there, but you couldn't see him. So I was talking. My youngest son, well, not my youngest son, but at the time my second oldest son was there with me, and we saw this spike on the EMF meter. It was a K2, full spikes all the way to red. And it looked kind of like something you'd see like on a radio. If somebody's talking, you'd see the spikes. It's what it looked like. And I was like, wow, that was really strange. I purposely shut the breaker off in the house so nothing would cause any kind of spike. So I saw that and I'm like, wow, that was weird. And the rest of the time, there's nothing else that really happened. I didn't hear anything or see anything. And I wrote it off as nothing happened. So I never listened to that recording. Probably a month goes by. At that time, I'm driving to pick up my brother-in-law. I pick up my cell phone. I make a call. I'm about to pick him up, so I'm calling to see if he's ready. I dialed the number, and then I kind of hear that pause, but no call goes through. And then in this pause, I hear this voice. Sounded like a robot voice box kind of sound.
Right.
But it was real time. Voice speaking to me said, "Hello, Michael."
Ooh.
And when I heard that, I freaked. Like inside, I just froze, and I realized, like I absorbed all this, and there was no doubt at that point, like, wow, like someone's talking to me. And if the whole circumstances of how that could be, how it could be possible, just I knew there was something else going on, and I was convinced after that. You didn't have to, try to sell me anything about experiences or whatever. I knew. That same voice spoke to me 2 other occasions after that. That's how I know this wasn't like just this is digital service age, right? This is not analog. No signals are getting crossed. 2 other occasions, that same robotic voice spoke to me in between a call, exact same method within a gap of, I can't remember how long, but it was probably months, maybe. Right. It's just weird random times. But I could never understand what it was saying. I would like to have known what it was saying, because I still wonder to this day who was talking to me.
Right. And you know what? And adding to, the experiences that your wife and your child was having, me thinking about how we get involved, the CP's question, how we get started into it. Not just investigating, but also just getting involved into the paranormal. I feel like we're chosen at certain times, right?
Yeah.
For like instance, your case, I feel, being an empath, and that's why I will share that later. But for you, your child and your wife had to hear this, and you was trying to debunk it because, of course, you're the dad, you're the husband, and you're the man of the house, right? So you're trying to figure out what's going on because you're not experiencing, and all of a sudden, yeah, you did. You experienced it. Yeah. And I feel like that was your time. That was your time to come into this field, and it chose you at that time. Now, I know that sounds weird, but I really feel what we do is weird, right? Because we're trying to figure out what's going on. But I feel like that time is your chosen time. And now you've heard that voice because you told me that story when we were sitting, sounds romantic. We were sitting by Lake Erie on the
sitting out on the island.
Me and Mike was sitting out there in those 2 chairs. And we were chatting, and I wanted to hear more about how he got involved. And I was like, don't share it all.
Floating creatures, floating invisible monsters in the woods.
Right. Yeah, I was hearing all this stuff, and I was like, hey, don't spill all the beans. We're going to have you on the show. And then now, Patty, well, how did you get involved? What got you started?
Well, I had a lifelong interest because as a child in New Jersey, I remember laying in my bed and seeing a woman peek around the door into my bedroom. And clearly I knew it wasn't anyone I knew. She had long red hair. I remember that. And then she straightened up and she continued on, disappearing through what should have been the front door.
Right.
But anyway, what got me into actually investigating was calling for help because of this home that we live in now. Mm-hmm. I had it built during my first marriage, and immediately upon moving in, there was activity. Now, I never called for an investigation by anyone until about 2010, at which time I was a single parent, and things were quite uncontrollable. And I thought I was losing my mind. And, every night my kids were They were taking turns sleeping in my bed. One would be in my bed, one would be on the floor of my bedroom, because they could not sleep in their own bedrooms. So, I had a team out, which led to having a second opinion team, which led to me meeting this guy.
This guy.
And so on and so forth.
Sometimes she regrets it. Like, oh my God.
I know. Sometimes I'm like, God dang, this freaking haunted house.
Yeah. But it was her chosen time, Mike.
There you go.
I was going to say that that kind of reminds me. I know where you're coming from with that. Even if you aren't necessarily believing, say at the time my children were having some experiences, like my son was having weird poltergeist things, and like blankets being pulled away from him, and hearing these things, it's like you start, even though I kind of wasn't sure what was happening, not 100% sure I can explain this. Right. I found myself, telling things that I didn't know were there to stop. Mm-hmm. So, like, even if you don't know what's happening or you're not sure, there was something that, most people can relate to, that when things are bothering your children and you kind of realize something isn't normal and it might be beyond what you understand, then you'll vocalize that. Even though you don't know what's there, you'll still start, standing up for them and not thinking they're crazy.
Absolutely. And, even though, like you said, adding on to something that's not there, but now being on this side of the fence into the paranormal, the unknown, we have to take control. So that's why we get called in, right? For those hey, am I losing my mind? And I'm like, well, you called me, but let's see if it's true or not. So,
right.
And then when we go in and we're like, yeah, this voice that I just got, or, we saw that door open or something, and we tried to debunk that. Yeah, there's something going on here. Okay. And because we want to, I think everybody that does the paranormal, if we get a call for helping a child in need, we're all going to jump first, because that's priority. And that leads to why I got involved in the paranormal. Is I did not have an experience growing up. I didn't have an experience like Patty or Mike here. My experience is because I lost 2 kids. And when my son passed away in 98 of August, a 3-foot shadow came to me a month after he had passed. And it freaked me out. And I'm like, this shadow's too big to be my son for being 3 foot tall. And I'm like, man, he grew. And, but still to this day, that 3-foot shadow comes to me periodically. After losing him, and then after losing my daughter in 2005. So that's what brought me into the paranormal. And since we've answered that, I'm going to go to the next. Tammy, she's asked, what was the one experience that has affected each of you and why? And we'll let Mike start.
Good, because I need to think.
Yeah, that first one again. Yeah, that was the one.
It was the one, huh?
Yeah, when like, you can have experiences that are like energy-like experiences, when levels amplify and things, escalate, and you realize what can really happen, like a voice apparating out of nowhere that sounds like a real voice right next to you. Those experiences stick with you, but hearing it like live time speak to me, what sounded like its own voice, maybe through some kind of distortion or something, that was the one that always stuck with me, because that seemed on a different level than like a lot of the usual, you could say usual kind of strangeness you get with EVPs and, communication. Right. Yeah. So that was definitely it, that first one.
I would say that had to, because hearing that through a phone. Yeah.
This is something I've been thinking about a lot recently, because I've been
bats.
No, I'm not going to get into bats, but
Carlo.
I've been at home a lot recently, and there was one time, I don't remember when, probably 10 or so years ago. I woke up in the middle of the night and needed to use the bathroom. Now, I don't know why. I don't know if maybe Lee was in the master bath at the time or what. But for some reason, I got up and I left our bedroom and walked across the hall to use the kids' bathroom. And in doing so, I glanced into our daughter's bedroom. And I know at the time the kids were with their dad, so it was just Lee and I at home. The kids were not here. But when I glanced in, there was a little girl standing in the doorway of the bedroom with long hair and a long nightgown. And to this day, there are times I will walk and deliberately not look in that room. And it sounds ridiculous because, yeah, I'm an investigator and that's what we live for.
Right.
But I stand by the statement of it's totally different when it's your own house.
When it's involving your family.
Yeah. Yeah. So that one definitely.
But you have to put that in consideration when you're also going out to help a family, right? To get answers is, wait, this stuff happens to me in my house and my children. So I got to make this priority. And, you know, we pull our sleeves up, guys. If you're never done paranormal, you're just listening because it's that time of the year. This stuff is real. This isn't something you go put a mask on and, you know, you play creepy music. This is real. And it's not for everyone. People have tried it that I've known in the past 30 years and walked away because it's like they get frightened. They can't control their emotions, their feelings and stuff like that, or they can't get equipment to work and they just say, hey, I'm done. So it's a different ball game when it affects you and your family. And for me, real quick, I'm just going to throw mine out there. My experience was in 2010 when Patty and I were dating. I had her watch my little Chihuahua. I go up to Mansfield Reformatory here in Ohio to do an event. And I had a group of people in the administrative basement. We had one more area to hit before we went upstairs. Walked in. My team member, Jim, he was filming this in the back of the line. We had about 6 people with us. Excuse me. I saw this man standing in the corner, like 6 foot tall. And I described him to a T. He had flat top, white hair. He had glasses, sort of like what I'm wearing. He had this gray jumpsuit on. I read his inmate number. He had white socks and the shiniest black dress shoes on that I've ever seen. And he made eye contact and I jumped. And so Jim starts asking questions and I'm answering the questions. And Jim says, I can't see this through the camera. I can't see this as I look forward. So I walk back and I'm looking in the camera. Now, when I looked in the viewfinder of the camera and then looked forward, I could still see him. So then I go up front and I'm asking. So Jim says, start asking him things. He would just look, and then he would look towards this room to the left of him. Well, he moved and he started walking and he went into that room. And I was like, whoa, we got to follow him. So as I put one step forward, the light came on in that room. And I saw his shadow on the door of that room. As I walk in, he's hanging. Okay, so we go upstairs, we find the curator, we share everything. He goes, okay, I'm going to give you my 2-way radio here. I will call you on it when I see if we can find any information on this inmate. About an hour or 2 into the night, he reaches back out, come to my office. We go back. He throws a folder on my lap as he tells me to sit down. I've read the first page. He was there from 1955 to 1957. Second page was his mugshot, the guy that I described. I'm like, holy crap. This is 2010, people. I stepped back to 1957 so I'm like, okay, so I didn't understand. I looked up and I said, I just don't understand why they had him in the basement. Why was he hanging in a prison? Well, he said, flip the page. Well, this is stuff that the state kept from the family. When back in that time, state of Ohio was allowed to, quote, lose, unquote, 25 inmates a year because they had these cells, these 5 foot by 8 foot cells jam-packed. They had 2 bunks, but sometimes they had 4 or 5 inmates in those. And they had these places packed to the gills. And they couldn't afford to feed them, house them. So what they would do is they put them in these 3 locations throughout Mansfield called the sweat box. and they would give them things to commit suicide. They would not feed them for days, make them go psycho up here in the mind. He hung himself. What they did is they took his body, took him out back, they laid him on his stomach, shot him 3 times in the back, told his family he tried to escape. That's what happened to this inmate. So the whole entire night, this inmate showed me his life story, showed me where he stayed in his cell and everything like that. And that's what opened up my ability as an empath. So that's it. That was I'll never forget that story. And like Jake says right here, I'm going down now the comments. Sorry, guys. Jake did have a panic attack at the house on Middle Bass Island when he went up to get his camera out of the attic. Mm-hmm. He came down like somebody had poured a 5-gallon bucket of ice cold water on him. And it wasn't much longer after that. I don't want to share too much because I want you guys to watch the episode. When I was up there doing my solo, and Mike, you can agree, Patty can agree, that attic has got a vibe. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was cool. And then your friend DJ Rock, he goes, have been following Mike for a few years now, friends with him, and he is majorly stepping it up with his new equipment adventures, new ghost hunts, all kinds of new and interesting stuff. Yes, keep it up. And real glad I found this channel to follow now. Also, I figured if Mike recommended it's good. Thank you for coming out, man. We really appreciate you. Okay, and Tammy's asking Jake. Travis, hey, there's Travis. He's with Southwest Ohio Paranormal Society. Justin, hey, he's from Southwest Paranormal Society. No, you're good. Right. Jake says, I wish I knew the answer to that, Tammy. But it was scary because I thought we had to really take him to a hospital. And I'm like, how are we going to do that when we're on an island? They're going to have to get a plane. I really did.
Yeah, I thought he was sick.
I did too.
I just heard him bolting down the stairs and basically hyperventilating. So it was.
Thank you, DJ. Yeah.
I kind of had a feeling when I seen that, like, what happened? I was like, waiting to see if he seemed all right. And once it seemed like he was.
Yeah, because I'm like, we're out here on this island, because I was like, if we panic, he sees it, it's just going to make him worse. And it's hard to do. Hey, Taylor, how are you? She's a girl that comes to one of our ghost classes in Waynesville. Travis, always say the one close to us, always watch over us when they pass. Right. Holly from Boss Paranormal, how are you?
Hello, Holly.
Mike's responding to everyone. And Travis, Bats was last week's topic.
That's right. I'm not talking about bats anymore.
Prospect Place Estate. When I was in there, we had a bat that was stuck in there flying around with us, and it was following us from room to room. You probably like to see that, Patty.
I bet you she would too.
I know, and it's so disappointing because I'd really love to go to Prospect Place.
Yeah, we'll have to go. But now since that, and you're witnessing it, Mike, she's gonna be like,
Yeah, well, I just referenced somewhere else in our group chat. I'm like, yeah, I'll go back there when it's bat free and dry.
Okay, now DJ Rock is asking a great question. Has any entity or spiritual encounter followed any of you home after an investigation? That's a really good question, DJ Rock. And we'll let Mike start since he's our guest.
Well, one of the things you were talking about that kind of relates to that about your home. One of the things that I do, especially when I'm home, but it happens pretty much whenever I'm out filming or investigating or doing anything. Once I'm done, I shut everything off. I disconnect. I might say goodbye and then I will disconnect. I'll make sure all of my stuff's off. I don't have any ITC running. I'm not, continuing talking, try to connect. I stop. And then when I'm home, I don't even, it's like nothing ever happened.
Right.
So I kind of like, and I think that might be one of the reasons why that was a bigger priority was because of one strange experience that could have been some kind of a hitchhiker or something that was with me. I did a little like series. I was curious as to whether or not your place of rest, like cemeteries, were,
Right.
or even like burials. Like, there's an ancient Indian Hopewell burial mound by me. Place of rest. If there was something to activity and a connection to just where you're laid to rest. So I did like I did a series called 6 Days, 6 Cemeteries, 6 Nights. And I went to 6 kind of like burials, graveyards that had some history or significance to them for, just to show. And I did a daytime investigation. Then I did a nighttime one at the same place. And I was comparing, like EVPs, were there a lot more? Was there more activity? But after the last place I went on that 6th night at the other place I was at, something bothered me. And to this day, I really don't like going to cemeteries to do investigations. I think I just did another one recently. It was like the first one I'd been at since then. So it had been a while, over a year or so. But I just had something with me while I was waking up. I was sleeping out on the couch when my kids come and visit. They usually sleep in my bed, and I sleep on my little love seat back there. So I was sleeping on that, and I saw something. I was like dreaming, but a vivid dream. I saw like this face, and I call it a face because it looked like a face, but it looked like its face was a shield. It didn't have like any eyes or nose. It just looked like a weird shield, but it looked like it was a head, and that's what his face looked like. And I just had this really bad feeling, and I kept saying, "Get out of me." And I was saying it, but I was saying it while I was sleeping. And while this was happening, I was saying it out loud. And as I was saying it, I seen it fading away from me, like further and further. And I woke up saying it. Like I heard myself saying it when I came through, saying, get out of me. So I think that may have been something like that. Something may have been with me. And it seemed to happen immediately following that last filming I did at the cemetery. And it's very strange. I'm not sure what to think of it, but it felt different. And I think it was very possible something was there with me.
And I've had a lot of things attach itself to me from before I knew I became an empath to now. I feel like sometimes they'll stick around for a short time, but they don't stay forever because this is not their norm, right? They need to go back to where they came. Their energy is stronger. But I will share one that I think it was the night after we investigated. We went to dinner, and I had way too many beers and too much liquor. And we come home, and I'm trying to get up the steps to go to bed. And Patty's in the bedroom, and she's getting ready. And she asks, "Where's Colton?" Our dog, my little Chihuahua. Mm-hmm. And I did not know I did this, but she shared, and I'll let you finish that.
Yeah, because this was the story I was going to tell. This was about 2011. And first of all, Lee walks in the bedroom, and I'm looking at him, and I'm like, he's off.
Right.
Like I could tell just by looking at him, something was different. And then on top of it, he's getting ready for bed, but he strips straight down to his underwear. No, not just. And that for him to go to sleep is unusual. He will ordinarily sleep in, shorts and a t-shirt.
Right.
So I'm like, oh, this is weird.
Yeah, I don't just go to sleep like that.
So he climbs into bed, and he lays back, and he closes his eyes, and he puts his arms like this. And I'm like, babe, where's Colton? Colton's the little Chihuahua. And Lee, again, laying there all creepy, laughs.
Yeah, I did. I'm like, I don't remember none of this, to be honest. I don't remember.
And I'm like, I said, where's the dog? And now, Jersey's coming out because now I'm pissed off.
Right.
And again, he laughs, and he sounds like freaking Sling Blade. It was terrifying. And he goes, in heaven. And I'm
Yeah,
like,
that's so weird. And
what?
and my little guy is like my buddy, my best friend. And I'm like,
right. And so I'm looking at him and I'm like, okay, this is messed up.
because the last thing I remember, Mike, is when I came in, I always give him a treat. He went outside, he came in, and I remember giving him a treat. But when I hit the stairway, that's where it goes back to when the kids were little with her first husband. There's a lot of energy in this house. We know there's a Wendigo here. We know that there is children. The Wendigo is in our son's bedroom closet. And we're keeping it tamed, because once a Wendigo's here, they don't leave. So it's not the house, it's the land, because that goes way back. We can be sitting downstairs and we'll hear a lot of running up here, giggling.
Yeah. But to finish up my story, again, I'm concerned about, where is the dog? He's about 7 pounds.
Right.
And I knew when he came upstairs, he wouldn't be able to get into the bed. I'd have to pick him up because he was too little, So anyway, finally, I fling off my side of the covers because now I need to go downstairs and find the dog. And at the same time, I'm thinking, Lee's going to grab me. Like, I just, he was just putting off this creepy vibe. And back in those days, I kept my BlackBerry downstairs. So as I'm walking out of the bedroom, I'm thinking, he's going to grab me. Can I get to my phone fast enough to call for help? And as I rounded the corner to go down the stairs, the little Chihuahua was like sitting at the top of the stairs, all shaking. But I mean, they do that.
That's just normal for him.
But I picked him up and I said, "Oh, Colton, thank God." And I walked in the bedroom and I put the dog on the bed and I looked at Lee, who's still laying there all creepy and disgusting. And I'm like, that is not fucking funny. And I climbed back in bed and he just did that little chuckle again. And he turned over onto his left side away from me and his whole body just relaxed. And that was it. So I laid awake for I don't know how long thinking, is this it? Are there going to be Lee's creepy hands around my neck? Like,
No.
What's the deal?
And the sad thing is, I don't remember none of that. So, of course, this energy that I call it got me when I was down, literally, and they play. And so then after that, I've never let something like that ever happen again.
No, the following day, I called a friend of ours at the time,
Right.
a psychic, and I was like, I need to tell you this story. And she's like, Patty, you are so lucky that, basically because I kind of confronted him at the end there and said, that's not funny. And I was like adamant about it. And she's like, because if you had shown fear, that thing would have grabbed you. And she said, he didn't hurt the dog, but he did scare him. Like something in him, like, again, Chihuahuas, you can like blink at them and they're scared, but something Lee did scare the dog. And that's why he was hanging back, but
so the in heaven was some kind of bad intent that was kind of manifesting itself.
Right.
Even though you didn't, it was like almost like an intention of what it was feeling, what it would have, like that's what it would like.
Yeah. And then, ever since then, I always do now protection prayers off the premises wherever we're investigating. Just like when we were at Middle Bass Island, I went onto the road before we went to bed and I actually did a protection prayer just for everybody there, for our sake, everyone's sake. It's because instances like that. We don't know what we're dealing with until it happens. And then sometimes it's beyond us as a paranormal investigator to figure this out. So that's DJ's story. And we've got a lot to go through here real quick, guys. Our friend Sherry, Haley and Patty, CP goes,
put your links
put your link up for YouTube and their link for thank you so much, CP. Here's Bob. He says, I'm just being silent, Bob.
Thank goodness.
And Taylor's doing good. Tammy said she'd like to go with us sometime when you come to Kentucky. I did talk to our buddy Travis Short when he was on the show. He is London, Kentucky's tourism advisor down there. And we'll be doing something, but I don't know when. Travis goes, that's when we are the most risk is when we are down. Something will take over us without knowing. You're right. And that's when we always got to keep our guards up, especially when we're investigating. And I think a lot of people do. Because we will, how do I want to say it? Poke the bear. Like when we go in, even when we go in and do an Estes method solo, or if we're chaining ourselves up to a location in a room and blindfolding ourselves, that's poking the bear to me. Because think about this. A lot of these locations, people are in there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? Renting this location out. And I share this all the time. Let's say it's your house. You passed away at your house. Now someone goes in and investigates it. Eventually, you're going to get mad because, first of all, they're in your house. Second of all, they're asking you the same damn questions over and over and over and over. Third, they're in your bedroom. You don't let people go to your bedroom when they come to visit. It's like, hey. So, I feel like a lot of that goes into play. Catching some more here. Oh, I got a place in London. My dad's family is from there. Oh, cool. CP, what's the farthest place from home you all have investigated? Good question, Mike. I'll let you go.
Well, let's see. It was April, May. I went to Long Island, New York. One of my friends, Mike from Long Island Bigfoot, is a friend of mine, and Jack, the cameraman. He invited Jack and I down to go check out some of his research sites, and we spent a few days there. That's probably the furthest I've gone. That definitely would be the furthest.
How about you, Patty?
Well, for me, it would be when we went to Estes Park, Colorado, to Stanley.
I was going to say that's the farthest that I've been. Now, we have been out to New York, New Jersey. But yeah, farthest west would be Colorado, Estes Park, the Stanley Hotel. We were doing an event there, and of course, Patty's a Stephen King. She's a huge fan, and of course, everybody knows that's where he got the idea to write the book, The Shining. Yeah. And so, yeah. And then Travis makes another good point. We are offering our energy up for contact and communication. You're right. There you go.
That's weird. I was just thinking of something right along those lines I was going to talk about too.
Go ahead.
When I first started, I was fortunate enough that I ran into a woman. Her name was Ramona. She goes by Bear Claw. She's a elder medicine woman of Blackfoot Mountain Indian tribe. And she felt compelled to get in touch with me. And she basically kind of shared some information, offered up some advice with how to interact and show respect for just reasons like that. And just like when we were at Middle Bass Island, everywhere I go, whenever I'm out, I make a traditional offering of tobacco, which is sacred, right, and by native traditions to offering tobacco to show respect. And I always make an offering and vocalize my intent wherever I'm at. And I do that because I think that is noticed and it reflects in how you want to communicate and connect. So however you do it, that's something that I think is important to do. And what Travis was saying, you basically acknowledge you're vulnerable, and I think that's important. And it's not that you're afraid vulnerable. You just know what you're dealing with is something that you potentially don't have a chance if there was any kind of real fight, right? So it's important to understand that vulnerability and not try to overplay what power you think you have, and just try to communicate and show the respect, and always vocalize your intent,
Right.
and not to be not to be disrespectful or anything obnoxious. I'm lighthearted and I joke. Sometimes I make like obnoxious or joking things, but I think that's in my intent. I think this found more of humor.
Right. And we dealt with the case been many years ago. These two men, first of all, they were together. They got this house not far from us. They bought this house so they can redo it and start a kennel. And that's the one where we were dealing with, we did know that the land was tribal land, Shawnee here in southern Ohio. We called our friend Jerome Howe. He's a shaman. And because the activity was just going crazy, and we were there for a couple times. And so he did a prayer on the phone on, speaker, and to give back to Mother Earth and Father and all. He went through everything, northeast, southwest, and he told them that they have to give back to the land. And giving back to the land would be planting fruit trees.
Mm-hmm.
So when we did a follow-up to see how things were, they did plant apple trees all the way down the side of their house because it sits out in the country. And things were doing wonderful. And so just like you say, you got to show respect because, white men totally did not show respect when they came to this land. And we're always going to have that little dark cloud, right, in certain areas wherever we go. So we just got to show respect. And
well, that's one thing when we're investigating also, we typically don't go in screaming and shouting. And, we go in, we introduce ourselves. We let them know, hey, we're just here to learn about you. We want to hear anything you have to say. Just always remembering that, although deceased, these are still people, and they are still someone's loved one.
There's still a soul. They're still there.
Right.
Hello, Kenneth. Welcome. Appreciate you stopping in. And Mike says also to them, yeah, because SOP's good guys. We're going to be with them on the 19th. And so Mike, we got a few more minutes. Let me put where you are. It's MT Paranormal Life, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. On YouTube.
Yep. I'm going to put it in the chat.
Yeah, usually drop a video once a week. It can be a little, off track sometimes with the days, but usually it's Saturday. There's a public video. I'm out regularly with Jack Riggs, the cameraman from the cameraman crew, and we're always working together and have some adventures out in nature, out at different places, private property, public parks, and so we're usually out filming. And I keep searching, waiting, looking for experiences, see what happens, because I know they happen, and that's the explorer aspect in me, and that's what I consider it, a paranormal explorer. I don't really research too much, kind of. I just go out and connect and see what experiences happen.
There's nothing wrong with that at all. That's one of the best ways to do it, because sometimes when we do research, sometimes we have that in the back of our head and we just want to pick that up, right? So when we hear, for me, when we walk into a location, the tour guide, before they leave, they want to go show you around, show you where the activity is. I don't want to hear it. I don't. So I walk away and I don't walk it. And because like you, I want to explore it. Mm-hmm. If somebody's there, let's communicate.
Yeah. And the research part and the information is definitely good. In no way am I saying to stay ignorant to that, but it's like, I don't focus on the answers. I'm not really trying to get answers. I will ask questions just to see what I get.
Right.
What happens after you die, right? It's like, will you actually hear that come from the other side? I don't know. And I'm not really worried about that answer, but sometimes I'll ask it because
Right.
you never know what's going to come through, who's going to talk to you, or if
Yeah,
they're telling the truth.
I had someone that's big religious. They approached me. It's been a few years ago, and they're like, "Well, do you feel like the good Lord's going to let you get all the answers you need to whatever you're doing as you're doing paranormal investigating?" And my answer was no. I do not think he's going to give us all the answers, because if he did, could you imagine how many people on this earth would actually come to paranormal investigators and say, "Can you help me with this?" We would be overwhelmed with how much longer do I have? Or no, we're not God. We're not going to be able to get all those answers, because he's not going to let us walk this earth worrying ourselves of like, you've only got remember I can't think of the song, but Nickelback made the video. Look, and the time was on above everyone's head. Could you imagine?
Yeah,
This world would be a purge.
I think a lot of it isn't so much getting answers that's out there. I think it's like in a residual state.
Mm-hmm.
The feelings, the emotions, everything that somebody had experienced their whole life, every single person at whatever age they passed away, those experiences, everything they've said and experienced, I think it becomes like a blanket wave of information that's underneath. And when you get these residual messages that sound like conversations that don't make sense to you, but you hear them, I think that's what you're hearing. And that's mostly what is there.
Right. Well, Mike, we appreciate you coming on tonight. We had a blast, and we'll definitely have you back on. Because I would love to have you back on, since you was a guest on Entity Explorers. And once it airs, have you back on, and we'll talk about your time and
awesome,
and talk about some of the videos you have up, because you showed us a couple. And you guys need to go check out his YouTube page, because those videos are quite unexplainable.
And I give him props, because this guy right here goes out by himself, and he's in the woods, and he's not doing like homes and old buildings. He's in the woods. So go check him out, follow him, MT Paranormal Life. Take care, guys. Had a lot of fun. Travis, we'll be seeing you in actually a week.
Duchess.
Thank you so much, DJ Rock. We appreciate you. Thank you for your support. And guys, check out Mike. Mike, again, thanks again for coming on, and we will reach out to have you back on. And guys, we're booking for guests. So reach out to us on Facebook, and we'd love to have you on, just like we had Mike tonight. And Mike, again, thanks again for coming on, and we appreciate you, buddy.
No problem. Thank you very much. And I'll definitely come back again if you offer it. So
absolutely. You're more than welcome.
And maybe see you soon sometime.
Yeah, well, I'm sure we'll get together again, because we'll have to get you down here and do some stuff. So thanks again, buddy.
No problem.
All right, guys. We had Mike. That was a great interview. Great guy. Got to meet him. Carlo and Jake got him to come on to film with us, and hearing his stories that night when we were sitting taking a break while other things were going on for filming. He has a lot to share. And we try to put that all in, and there's just no way. So we just wanted to break the ice tonight with people asking a lot of great questions, and I thought that was great. And we all appreciate your support, Patty and I, following us here on YouTube. If you are watching us through YouTube, if you can subscribe, we'll do the same. Following All Things Creepy with Ghostly Travels on Facebook. Our Paravisions Paranormal Society page on Facebook. We're also on Instagram and LinkedIn. TikTok. Paravisions. I don't know what you're talking Please follow us, guys. We'll do the same. Stay tuned next week. We do not have a guest next week. We're just going to talk about all things creepy, right? Paranormal, the unknown. And we'll go from there. Guys, thanks again. And you all have a wonderful night. Thanks again.